What is going on, YouTube? Hope everybody's doing well. Futures Brizio here, 8:40 p.m. on July 22nd. Hope everybody's doing well. Had a great day. I did not make a video during the day today. Not too much going on. I did take a couple more trades in Forex. I took one in futures, which again, I'm already out of because it was a day trade. But so we're going to jump right in, take a look, see where we're at with stuff. And hope everybody's doing well. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the chat if you're watching the live stream. If not, then leave them in the comment section if you're watching this afterwards, pre-recorded. So we'll jump right in. Per usual, we're going to talk about some futures setups here. And put the dog hat on right there. Dogs are my favorite people. So any of you that are dog lovers would probably appreciate that. So anyways, just jump right in. Where is my, okay. So one of the trades I'm holding is Swiss yen short. I took it yesterday through this breakout, or actually, let me see, was that today? Today is I took it today. Sorry. I took this earlier today on a breakout out of this box that I was talking about this yesterday. And we did get this box right here. Now I have a pretty short stop, take profit on this down to these lows. Did have a very aggressive move up. So, you know, it's not a really good risk to reward trade. If it breaks lower and gets through these lows, I probably will re-enter. I do have a TP sitting right about there at 200.16. So hoping it gets down there. Right now, it's just kind of flopping around break even. It has not really done anything since it broke out with this candle right here. This candle was at 10:30 this morning. That's when I took the trade. You can see it has not moved another 50 pips since then. Just sitting there doing zero. So I'm hoping it finally just gets moving here and that we at least get back to here, and then I'll be happy with that. And then if it continues to break lower, then I might consider re-entering down to some of these further away lows. Okay. So Swiss yen, that was the reason for that trade. Dollar Canadian. I've been holding this one now. And I have to change this to 500. I've been holding this one to the long side, and it's just not really doing much. Now you can see right here, it's got these two green candles, which looks really nice. And but my entry was up here at the top of this candle, and it's done nothing since. In fact, it's gone backwards a little bit in price. So I am in drawdown on this with my stop below this swing low. It's not the type of trade. If you watch my video yesterday, I talked about loving these like 3 candle sideways patterns as my favorite trend, favorite entry with these range bars. This clearly is not that type of trade. This was, you know, an extended uptrend that took out some major support, some major resistance levels, and then pulled back, which what looked to be pretty corrective, especially at the top. And then 2 really solid bull candles. So I'm hoping that we continue and go up to new highs here. So I am holding that, but it is in drawdown at the moment. And so I'm hoping I don't wake up tomorrow with it stopped out. So, but that is US dollar Canadian. And I also took yesterday, around yesterday morning, I took pound US dollar. That one is basically a break even right now. Very small profit. Took this one short. Get rid of that arrow because clearly I'm not long. And so you can see, you know, it broke out. I took this trade yesterday. You can see it's done again, nothing since then. This candle, this range candle painted at 7:52 a.m. yesterday morning. So more than 24 hours ago. and it's still really not doing anything. So I'm basically chopping around at break even. So I am hoping to get some downside momentum. And of course, I'm long dollar Canadian, so that's obviously bullish on the US dollar. So hopefully that plays out. If that does, then both of these will uh, be profitable. If it doesn't and the dollar becomes bearish, then they're both going to be losses. So that's the double-edged sword of having, you know, playing the opposite side here of things. So that's pound US dollar. And then the last one is New Zealand yen, which I am short. So let's take and see where we're at with that one. And so the reason why I took this one was off this basically triple high right here that you can see, especially right here. Again, doesn't exactly meet my criteria for what I talked about yesterday with preferring to take like these sideways patterns that break out. But I figured it was a pretty low risk trade when this candle painted. And I've been holding this trade. Now, let's see. When did I get into this? I know you guys can't see this. I'm looking on my old screen. Yeah, I took this one also yesterday morning as well. Um, Early New York session. So, it is what it is. I figured if it turns and goes higher, the worst happens, I get stopped out right here. My stop is sitting just above this high, and that's fine. So, but if we can get like a quick pop reversal over here, even if it doesn't come very far, it would be a nice little trade. So, but again, it is not doing anything. The last candle it painted literally was Monday night around this time 2 days ago, and it has just done zero since then. Very frustrating. But the nice thing is with the range candles is that you can just sit here and wait. And when the market actually does start to move again, these range candles will tell you, especially at a level of 500, which 500 is 50 pips. So it has to move at least 50 pips before it paints another candle. So when I say it hasn't moved, it's not that it hasn't moved at all. It just hasn't moved enough to paint a new candle. Now, if I look at the 250, so let's look over here on this chart. This is the New Zealand yen as well, but you can see on this one, no, I have to change that. It's still showing 500, so we'll change this to 250. On the 250, since then um, we have moved some 25 pip candles, but you can see the range overall is not really doing too much. So, that's why we're not getting any movement on this chart. And so we just have to kind of wait and see. But this still is even on the 250. Yeah, maybe we got a head and shoulders forming here, right? Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. We've broken that now, that neckline. So classic technical analysis. I don't know if I really, that's not something I really follow much, but let's see if we can get some downside. I mean, it does look more bearish than it looked, anywhere going up here. So again, even if we get a pullback, even like halfway back down, like maybe back somewhere near this area, I would be very happy with that. So I'm going to hold it and just hope that it gets off its butt and starts moving. Okay. So those are the four trades I'm in. Basically sitting, around break even when you average them all out. Hold on, guys. I got to just put something on my charger here. Here we go. Okay. So so we're gonna hope that these end up playing out in the long run, and we'll go from there. You guys know, I went through all these last night looking at ones where maybe there was potential stuff starting to set up right here. And, with my favorite pattern, which is these sideways consolidation patterns, Aussie New Zealand is one of those that has not moved, though. This, has been setting up this was a week ago Monday. So it's like 10 days now. This market has not moved outside of this range right here. Let's look at it over here. All right, there's the range. This whole thing is the range on the 250. Okay. If we want to just look at regular candlesticks for a minute, We'll go out to like the 4 hour chart. All right. Here's that same price action on the 4 hour. So basically, this entire thing, I'm looking on the right here with the blue and purple candles. This messy, choppy crap right here. Let me make sure it doesn't include that. And it probably does actually. Right here. All right. This messy, ugly thing right here is the same as this. Okay. It's just you use, and this is a 4 hour chart on the right, trying to find something that is relatively similar. We could go up maybe a little higher. It's going to look the same. It's still very, you know, choppy and then up, but hasn't really taken out any important highs or anything. Whereas this is very smooth and it's just sitting here waiting for a breakout. And we have not gotten it. Okay. So the Aussie Kiwi doesn't move very much, so it will take a little push to get this thing going. But I just wanted to point that out, and that this is what we're waiting for. So these are my preferred setups, but unfortunately they don't come along too often. And once they start consolidating like this, they do tend to just sit there for a while. And so there can be a little bit of tie up of your capital and maybe even some drawdown. But once they get going, they tend to move pretty aggressively, because you break out of one of these patterns, there's definitely buying or selling by the big banks and big funds that are stepping in. It's the only way you can break out of these zones. So if you're in it when that happens, then you're going to ride the whole move. But you do have to be patient, and you're not always going to be right. Sometimes it ends up going the other way. But the biggest thing is just having patience to ride out these consolidation areas. Okay. But it is a really pretty cool, easy way to look at consolidation and just wait and see what the market ultimately wants to do. You can see, again, I'm not going to, well, I mean, we can go through some of these. Again, these are all things I talked about last night, and nothing has changed. So here's the Aussie dollar. We've got this 3 candle setup right here, has done nothing. I've got alert set. Here's the euro US dollar, a little less smooth. This is pretty choppy, but again, I've got alert set, has done nothing. We already talked about the pound US dollar. The New Zealand US dollar has come back to old heights right here, and is reacting very, very typical. Now, does it keep going down, or are we going to enter into a sideways pattern first and then go up or down? But either way, it's not necessarily a trade for me. I'd like to see a little bit more than one candle. Right here's not really too much on the dollar yen. I mean, I suppose you could say this is a little corrective pattern here. Uh, but that's not really very interesting. We already talked about dollar CAD. Here's dollar Swiss. Again, a little messy like the euro dollar. It's just the opposite of the euro dollar. The dollar Swiss and the euro dollar are inverse pairs. They will move almost exactly pip for pip in the opposite directions. Okay. So that's why this looks like this, and the euro dollar looks like that the other way, right? Because that's the way these two pairs move. All right, Aussie CAD, just sloppy mess. Aussie yen, not really anything to do there. Yeah, potentially look for another long if we can swing back. We could be looking to trade up to this zone. So, just on a pullback, a green, another bullish green candle to the upside, and maybe with a confirmation on the 250 range, this could be a potential long watch on a pullback and then resumption, back up to maybe these highs. Whoops. So I'll just leave this blue arrow there just to remind me. Aussie Kiwi, we talked about. CAD Yen, not really doing too much, kind of sitting at resistance right now. Swiss Yen, we talked about. Euro Aussie, I think is going to continue down at least back to these old lows. So this is kind of like opposite of the Aussie yen. And maybe we'll get, whoops, I don't want that. I want an arrow. So, we get some kind of pullback and then maybe a continuation down towards these lows. So we'll see what that does. Euro CAD. Not really doing anything. Kind of sitting at some support levels right now. So I'm not really too interested in that at the moment. Euro yen, I've not really been interested in all. It's just moving sideways. Yes, it is going up, but it's also sitting back at these old highs. So not anything I'm trading. Euro Kiwi is starting to look pretty bullish, got to tell you. This is really bullish. But I would love to see either a correction or a sideways pattern set up and to kind of reload for the next move up. I just don't like chasing this. But that's pretty solid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bullish candles in a row. That's 250 pips. That's pretty good. I mean, that pair does move a lot. So that's a couple of days of price action, but it is looking pretty good. So, and pound AUD, we'll see what this does. This was the last breakout to the downside. Again, 3 candle pattern broke and went down. And now we're pulling back a little. We've got 2 candles here. So let's see if we roll back over and keep going. So, that's a potential setup. I'm going to throw an alert. It's a pretty aggressive alert, but put one there. And I'll put one to the upside a little further up just to keep an eye on it. Remind me. All right. Pound Canadian, not really doing much. Just kind of chopping inside of this larger range. Pound New Zealand. Now, Pound New Zealand and Euros New Zealand usually move pretty similar together. So let's see. But this one looks a lot uglier than the Euro New Zealand. So we'll see what happens. But both of these generally move in the same direction. Not quite, but they're very closely correlated, as a lot of Euro and GBP pairs can be, especially against the same currency. But there's nothing there to do right now. And then lastly, New Zealand Canadian. I talked about this last night. We had this nice sideways pattern, broke and then rejected off the high, came back into the range, and this has not moved since Monday night. So again, we have just kind of stalled out at these highs and not really doing too much. You can see here, it's come down, but it's still, well above the support levels here inside this range. So nothing really for me to do there. And then, and we already talked about New Zealand yen at the beginning of the broadcast. All right. So that's that for Forex. Not a lot's changed. I did take a couple of new trades, but you can see overall, though, there hasn't been a lot of action. So just didn't feel the need to really do much earlier on the channel. All right. And then lastly, for futures, I only took one trade today. It was in soybean meal, which I did honestly leave quite a bit on the table. Yeah, I sure did. Oh, it's been a long day, guys. But let's show you what I did take. And why is it not showing my trades I took here? I don't know. Let's go back there again. I'm logged into my futures account and see up here where it says trade. That means I am logged in, so it should be showing my trades. Execution marks, execution labels. Not showing it. I don't know why. I did take a long on this today, and I closed it at these highs right here, and you can see it just kept going. Probably could have squeezed a lot more out of it. Don't know why that's not showing. I really don't. Nope, not showing. Bizarre, bizarre, bizarre. Trust me, guys, I did take a trade on this today, but it's not showing. But I took a trade here today, basically on a break of this zone right here. Again, I got out up here, but it probably obviously should have held this. So I will wait and look for another opportunity to potentially go long here. Wheat, like I said, has been really overextended. It looks like it is trying to go higher, but it was really overextended being away from the moving averages. So I wasn't too interested in that. Corn did pull back and did have this push on Monday and then yesterday. And then today we had this movement. But again, since it had already pulled away from the moving average, there was nothing for me to do today. This had kind of already happened. The other one I had gotten alerted today on was this. But again, soybeans, is already, we're kind of sitting at one of these ranges here, and it already had pulled away from the moving average. So I wasn't interested in trading that. And now you can see we do have one of these range boxes setting up on the 20. And then there's soybean meal, which again looks pretty good. But we've got, a little overextension here. So I do like to see these bigger pullbacks towards the moving averages. So I just assume leave that alone. So we'll see what happens tomorrow if we get any, maybe a deeper pullback towards the moving averages as they start to catch up with things. And then we'll see if we get an opportunity. So, all right. Yeah. So that's the look for tonight. And like I said, I'm hoping some of these Forex trades can get off their duff and start moving and just stop chopping around and whipsawing me up and down. And I'm in drawdown 1 minute and then I'm in profit the next and then back into drawdown because they're just not doing anything. So it's just the way it goes and you just got to deal with it. So when the market's just indecisive, and quite frankly, in the summer, it's not uncommon for that to happen. It's very, the amount of liquidity in the market and volume in the market is definitely reduced in the summer because of vacations by big traders that take half the summer off, and it definitely drains a lot of volume out of the market. And so sometimes it is hard to sustain some of these moves, and so you just have to wait, and it's going to just take probably some kind of fundamental event or news to get them going. So in the meantime, we'll just sit and be patient. And I got a bunch of watches on some other forex pairs, so we'll see if any of those end up triggering and decide whether it's worth taking any trades. All right, and for futures, I have a pretty set process for taking futures trades, and if I don't get it, I don't get it. I've gone sometimes now for multiple days without trading on futures, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I look at it every day, but if I don't get the setup I'm looking for, then I just skip it. So, all right. So, anyways, that's it, guys. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Questions, comments, leave them down below. And any questions on any of the stuff with range bars or anything else, let me know. Happy to answer and talk about it. I'm still learning this stuff myself, but I'm kind of digging it and I do like it. So we'll keep on keeping on with it. All right, guys, have a beautiful evening and hope everybody is doing well. Smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.